This meeting is being live. Oh, yeah.
Got it.
It's all live.
Got it.
It's all live. As a matter of fact, it's Sunday Live chat. It's another Sunday Live chat. And yes, today's, again, super special guests, both of which are in the UK and I'm not. Edward KaSpel and Mark Spybey. Guys, welcome. Great to see you.
Oh, good to see you, Kevin.
Good to see you, Edward. Good to see you, Kevin.
Yeah, absolutely. Be good to see you, like, not on a screen soon as well. I'm looking forward to that very much.
Yeah.
Hey, so you guys have, I can only imagine, like, the complications to travel now. Is it like a lot more complicated now than it was before?
The visa, getting the visa was kind of like outrageous this time. There's it was fraught with a lot of very sad things that happened as well. Like because we applied for the work permits, and the lawyer that was handling it, or at least the caseworker, he like died. You know, it's really tragic.
Oh, wow.
It was passed on to somebody else, and then of course there's the tragic news about Dave Hagman, and it's just like you know, so these things really fraught with, you know, terrible events. It's been a bad year, to be honest. And then when we got the work permits, that went through kind of smoothly, but most of the embassies aren't really, nobody's working in them now, the US embassies. And so actually getting the visa was like a little bit, you know, how's this going to work? But strangely, I didn't have to have an interview or anything. I could just send in my passport and I got it. But the other guys, though, they had to go to like Frankfurt to get them. You know, it's like.
Is there new conditions that they put on people now, or is it more strict in some manner? Or
you have to be vaccinated to get in.
Yeah.
No vaccination, no entry. But you know, I'm vaccinated 3 times, so it's like I've also had COVID itself a couple of times. So yeah, I'm not so worried. You know.
Yeah, really. I don't know. So how are you guys doing? I sort of jumped into the game there. How are you guys doing personally? Yeah. It's so good to see you.
Nervous.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, like really. The time before a tour, like I'm just like this frenetic kind of like.
I can imagine. I mean,
it's ridiculous bundle of nerves.
Different as well without Phil.
Eh? Yeah, I mean, it was just basically he, you know, it does take a lot out of you physically.
Yeah.
And he just felt it was the time to, I don't know, step out. We knew it was coming.
Yeah.
You know, it had been coming for quite a while. And so I was trying to encourage him, you know, like, yeah. And I was saying, yeah, you know, think of, you know, the people you'll see. And then, but, you know, he really was determined to step out. It was like, yeah, what can you do?
Is it a COVID thing that he wants to, or is it that he's just like doesn't want? I mean, being on the road's tough, and you guys always undertake quite a touring schedule. So is it the sort of like the challenging tour schedule? Will Phil still stay on in the behind the scenes?
I mean, he'd be invited behind the scenes. Not so much, really. Like, because he didn't really want to do the whole mail order thing anymore. He kind of like, he was very tired of that. So Raymond is actually taking care of that now, and myself to a point. And
love Raymond.
Yeah, I guess he just wanted to retire. That's what it comes down to. I mean, you know, none of us are spring chickens anymore, really.
So when can you talk Raymond to coming on the road again?
Oh, it's very hard for him physically as well, because he has issues a bit with his back.
So, oh my God. I mean, you guys have such a long history. I can only imagine that. I mean, in some ways, he'll eternally be part of it, right? I guess.
Yeah, it's very, very sad. And I could say shocking, but it wasn't that shocking because I knew it was coming. I was a little bit in denial myself about you know, sort of like, I was trying to persuade him all the time to do it. And, you know, he really was determined that, yeah, he wanted like basically a quiet life, I guess. And, you know, you're allowed when you get to the, like this kind of age, you are allowed. It's just that myself, I can't do that. I have to do it. I mean, I go crazy if I don't sort of go on the road.
Does Phil have a second occupation that he's kept secret from us all?
None that I'm
Chartered
aware
accountant.
of. None that I'm aware of.
Journalist.
Journalist, yeah. So this is who we have here on the road this time. You've got what, Eric still, of course, and you, and
yeah.
this
Randall.
And of course, we should be introducing the fact that the lovely Randall is going to be joining you guys as a new member of the performance. And what a great guy to choose.
Well, it's a full band member. We'll be riding. You know, he's a pink dot now, as well as an orbit service. He's,
you know,
he's one of us. But he's kind of been sort of one of us for a long time. You know, it's like. Go back so many years. It's just like
natural.
This is natural, and I'm really actually kind of excited about it. I must say,
hey.
Because I love making music with Randall, and he's made his last that Orbit Service record. He did a lot with Eric, so it's like it's just one of those things that had to happen.
Yeah, he's got a new album out on blue vinyl on Bandcamp. Go grab it, Orbit Service Dreamless.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, and he was here just the other day in town. We went for a cruise in the bug. I took him for Japanese curry, and he ordered it too hot. He said, I want it really hot, but then he ordered it at 10. And I thought, like, that's going to be and
they have numbers on the heat of the food.
They do at this place. We'll have to go, Edward.
10?
Yeah, a 10.
I mean, like how? What is? I'm kind of bad. What is 10 like? Can you even get past like one bite? Or
Rihanna loves spicy food, and she says it's totally tolerable. Yeah. But you know, for people that like spicy food, yeah, it's great. He chose it, but you know, one thing that I love about Randall is that he's really into some really nice gear, and he recently turned me on to this CXM 1978 reverb pedal. Edward, have you heard this thing yet?
No, I don't know anything about it.
Yet. There in Randall's setup. I trust you will be hearing it shortly when you get to Colorado and he displays its splendor to you. But man, it's like the heavens open up. It's one of the nicest sounding heavenly reverbs I've ever heard. And now the entire world will go get one. But basically, yeah, this Randall is touring usually with the CXM and the Volante, the Strymon Volante. Super good choice of effects. It just goes to show you how Randall's always thinking about like I guess being a live sound man for a number of years and being in charge of production and being a tour manager. What a great guy to pick.
Totally.
And
like Eric has that too. He's also like someone who does live sound for bands and is really into the sound. And it's like a band full of sound techs.
Well, at least you know if something goes wrong, you know, you get the
it will be sorted out.
So
yeah, and then Yup is there, sort of like to fix everything like you, because he's a great sound tech too, you know.
So he'll still be opening the show as well. So Randall's going to be a busy guy, right?
Yeah.
Look at this. Yeah. You got a number of shows. It looks like it starts on the 19th in Salt Lake City?
That's right, yeah.
At the Metro Music Hall, going up northward towards Seattle and then coming down the coast. Oh, no Vancouver this time?
No, actually, I'm fine with no Vancouver. It's a hassle. Like the last time we went to Vancouver, it was like, yeah, the whole thing of like, what do we do with the Merc? You know, sort of like crossing that border because you know they're real.
It is
kind of like it's harsh border.
It's one of the hardest in the world, isn't it, Edward?
I know. Yeah. Then you get there and sort of you know, the show did okay, you know. I think we had a couple of hundred, but there was something weird about the deal with it. We said, "Oh, here's your $500." It's like, what? It's like, yeah, you got paid after it broke even. So, oh. Then we came back sort of like over the border in the middle of the night, and sort of like we just happened to get like Kim Jong-un and the sort of like customs. It's like, oh, hi, Kim. Fancy seeing you here. You know?
One night, you know, because it's great to go play, but it just can take the steam out of you, those border crossings.
I know. And it's just like, why did we do this? Why did we do this?
Hands up against the wall.
You know, we left all the murk in this hotel in Bellingham. It's like, sort of like drove up and back. It's just like, why did we do that? So yeah, we skipped Vancouver this time.
Oh, shame. But you know, there are other Canadian dates, and then as well at the end, you've got some very special dates planned here for the ending in Denver. And you know, Denver's obviously the greatest place to do these type of things. But you're going to do your regular Legendary Pink Dots Orbit Service show with Drood, and then you got the next night. You got. Tell us about what's going to go on the next night, guys.
Well, Mark's going to be there.
Yeah, that's right.
Tell about what you're going to do.
Well, I'm actually, I'm playing. I'm incredibly grateful, by the way, Edward, for being asked to come and do this. It's wonderful. I'm playing, and for the last few times I've played in Denver, Randall and basically Orbit Service have played with me, and we've done a kind of joint set. So one of the members of one of the guys who played with Orbit Service is Nathan Jamil, who is the Drood, is part of the Drood.
That's so Nathan.
Yeah.
Oh, he's an old friend, Nathan. I really like Nathan.
So for this concert, I'm actually playing with Nathan and Daniel, who are the Drood. So we're playing together. No, I hope Randall will probably pop along for a song as well, maybe. But so yeah, we're doing a whole set of songs, believe it or not.
Is it based on songs that you've made, or are these going to be like new creations based on?
They're all songs that I have been involved with throughout the course of my career.
Wow, interesting. So they had to learn.
Sounds like a really good show. I'm looking forward to see that.
Yeah. So I'm doing a couple of the poems that I did with Download. I'm doing some Their Voices Air songs, and I'm doing some B-Hatch songs as well. And
so cool.
Nathan and Daniel have created new versions. So, and they're beautiful. And I'm really enjoying rehearsing with them.
That's great.
So it's going to be. I think it'll fit into the general theme of the show, you know.
Yeah, I'm also doing like a half-hour solo set.
Yeah,
but that's with the like Randall's will be doing it with me, and the violin player from Javochka, he's playing with us, and yeah, basically, yeah, I'm a bit nervous about that because all the songs will be new. And some things that I've never done before, and live, and one will probably be completely improvised as well. So it's like I just thought, well, I've been playing these like in solo sets, which I haven't actually done solos every years, but I was always tending to revive like old songs. I thought, well, I don't do that this time. It's got to be all new songs. So a challenge, but kind of nice to have a challenge. You know? That's why I'm getting so nervous as well. It's just like I'm running lyrics through my head constantly, and I can't switch off. It's like, oh, please, little
sounds like a nice show, doesn't it? Sounds like a nice show. Sounds like a nice show, doesn't it?
Edward, have you had a method of which you can rehearse with Tom and guys for this show?
No. It just, you know, in a way, because like Randall's, you know, I'm going to try and sort of like fit it all in this week because I'm coming a little bit early. I'm flying over on the 13th, and it's not a long show. It's like half an hour, so it's like very streamlined, and it's like I'll show how the songs, because a lot of them are from these, like I've been doing this kind of quarantine series album, like I was doing like an album a month earlier this year, and like a lot of it comes from those 4 albums that I did earlier this year, and yeah, so that there are references, not on a very not on a very last track, which is going to be like a ramble, one of my stream of consciousness things, but yeah, it'll work, I think.
You will also do a Legendary Pink Dot set that night as well, right?
Oh, there is a Legendary Pink Dot set as well, yeah.
So
it's going to be kind of an intense night.
Busy night. Yeah. And it's kind of like a must attend thing when you've got like Dizzy Pixel doing the visuals as well. It's like, it's all the perfect settings for a fantastic night. Great venue.
It's all the Denver posse, isn't it? Like Cosmos is doing the DJing. So
it's really, it's like all the faces, you know.
Yeah.
You got.
I really like Denver for that. It's like you got so many friends there, and
oh my god,
like,
yeah.
You got Cosmos, Mudwolf also spinning between everybody. It's like so much excitement. I mean, you must be looking forward to it. It's, despite that there's a lot of work coming. There's got to be a sense of looking forward to the work.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been so long since I stepped on a stage. I mean, it was like literally just as the pandemic was breaking out. It's nearly 3 years. It's not far off 3 years. It's just like, whoa. It's like, I hope I can still do this. I mean,
because you actually managed to get a tour in, and I think the tour finished just as lockdown started.
It was insane. I was literally sitting, like, because we played in Milan, and it was like a very rough sort of club. They cleared out this place where I guess they'd had conferences or something as a dressing room, so better with no heating or anything. It's like I was sitting there freezing, sort of like by all these stacked chairs and things like that, thinking, what am I going to do now? I know what, I'll check the news. So like, looked at the Guardian and stuff, what was going on. It's like, Italy, it's a huge outbreak in Cremona. I thought, where's Cremona? And I looked over, 60 kilometers away from Milan. It's like, oh, this is not good.
Yeah, you guys, the fire was just following behind you.
Yeah, no, and so the next day we went into Switzerland, and sort of like a real old friend that we knew for years and years turned up and said, hi Mark, how are you doing? It's like, fine. It's like, oh no. It's like, oh, this is. I was getting really worried. I remember sort of like talking to Eric, like at some point, I said, I'm really worried about this. He goes, yeah, but you've got to look at the statistics of getting COVID, which were kind of seemed to be low at that point, but then we stopped in Germany, and sort of like we played in Cologne, which was like it was okay, but we had to book our own hotel. So we thought we'll go to this place. I think it's called Heinsbach or something, or Heinsberg or something. We thought, that's far enough away. It's like a little place, and we're close to Holland. Turned out to be like the epicenter of COVID, Germany. Then the last show was in London, and it was a great show. It was packed, like literally packed, but with a very low roof, and one of those sort of like shows where everybody wants to hug you. It's like, oh no. And yeah, but somehow I don't think I got it. I don't think we got it then. I got pretty ill at the beginning of 2021. And I'm sure it was COVID. That was pretty bad.
What about you, Mark?
No, I've never had it. I've triple vaxxed. No, I mean, I was really lucky because lockdown kind of coincided with me fully retiring from the day job, and prior to that, I was commuting on a train, 3 times a week, for an hour and a half each way. And I reckon there's two places that I've consistently got bugs from in my life. One is work, because work is a dangerous environment. And the second is public transport. And I was doing neither of those two things. So no, I've either been lucky or, well, I'm still wearing masks in shops.
This is where Mark is instead.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, that's just a few
I can
miles.
see why you don't take public transport.
I'm always very envious of Mark's daily routine.
Yeah,
Not quite as exotic as that, because I do live in Redcar.
There's your public transit now, right?
That's my
that's
transport,
really nice.
yeah.
That's a nice bike too. And
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
you get out and do a lot of riding. It's just beautiful, isn't it? Like
I do. I've not been able to go out for 3 days because of the wind.
That's why you don't get COVID, is because you don't. There's nobody out there.
That's true.
Except for Gloria.
That's Gloria.
Ah, Gloria's there. She'll keep you safe.
Lovely.
What a lovely cat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I think that when you go on the road, Mark, basically, will you guys still exercise like some sort of routine to keep yourselves safe? Like basically, I think a lot of bands don't have guests backstage, or is there some sort of special rules you got to implement still, you think?
I haven't really come up with it because to say it's the first time since it all broke out.
Yeah.
I probably will ask people. I still will go out and meet people after the show. So I really like it. They really like it. I'm going to try and discourage people from hugging me.
That's hard.
Shit.
Shit. But I am triple vaccinated. I mean, I had COVID earlier this year for sure. Like both me and Alona and Alice, we all had it, and it was like a light cold. By that stage, is like it really mutated itself almost out of existence. So you could even function with it. There's nothing. It really wasn't something that was worrying. But obviously, the vaccines work.
Yeah. I have my 4th booster as well next week. So.
Oh wow! And so
I haven't had the 4th. I've only gone up to 3, but. It's somehow I'm not that worried now. It's like I've taken as much precaution as I can. I was offered a 4th just I think a week ago or something, but when I get back maybe.
Yeah.
But,
Mark, you've been you're also flying and doing a second show in Austin a couple days later. Is that with the same band and situation? People can check you there.
Yeah, it's at Elysium.
Elysium, the lovely Elysium.
Yeah. On November the 22nd, and there's a couple of really neat support acts. One of which is I've forgotten the name of the band, but it's actually Thor Harris, who was in the Swans for years.
Oh wow, that's great.
And a guy called Steve Marsh, who is part of the group of people from the label Emergency Hearts that I've been working with a lot. And so, I'm primarily going there because of the relationship that I have with the label. So I'm really looking forward to that. I love Austin. It's
another one of those cities, like Denver, another hotbed of support. And you've been busy as well. Like, I don't know, you and Edward are probably the most prolific people on earth, like always producing fantastic new works and always with fantastic art too. That's sleep.
That's an interesting photograph. That's off the coast of here. There's a wind farm just off the coast.
I must say, Mark, your photographs just absolutely blow me away.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
I love those photographs.
There's my camera.
Excellent.
So you take it obviously with a real camera, don't you? I guess.
No, it's iPhone.
That's with your iPhone.
Yeah.
Wow.
I take them all with an iPhone. Yeah, I don't own a camera.
Yeah, it's the same here. I just use my iPhone, but I don't know, my photographs don't turn out like that.
Well, here's a little clue. If you import them to iPhoto, whatever it's called, on Mac. There's a really simple editing tool on it, and it's
Okay.
it's really easy to use.
How many years has it been for you since you played, Mark?
6 years.
6 years.
6.
Wow.
Yeah.
Time is
The last time I played was in Denver, actually. I played in Chicago and Denver, and I don't think I've played. I think I might have been to it. I think, yeah, I went with Robert Hampson because I organized a concert for Robert in Poland, and I went with him. But I didn't play there. So yeah, it's been a long time. But I can't say I've missed it, to be honest, because I do enjoy it, but I spend so much time in the studio that the studio has become, a good friend of mine.
Yeah, I know that feeling. It's just like every day. It's like you don't know what's going to happen on a particular day, and it's like I do actually try and make something every day.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
It's just like because I still get excited about it. It's like, it's like it's so addictive.
Is there a new gadget that you guys need to get or to get really excited, or is it the same gadgetry that still entices you?
Sorry,
go after you.
After you, old chap. After you.
I mean, for me, I admit I'm kind of a little bit fanatical about new software. I do like kind of checking that out. I mean, it just the whole thing of like virtual synths and things like that. I actually really fascinated by that world because of like how far they can go. I like the fact that it is a real challenge. Oh yeah, that's a photograph from Vienna.
That's a nice photo too.
Yeah.
I mean, I've used kind of filters on it and things like that. But I was very pleased with that. I was on that last tour. Yeah, that's Simon. Did that go? I love Simon.
Simon.
Yeah, Simon. Oh, this was I think it might have been in Iowa. It didn't look like that, of course, when I took the picture. But it was actually a photograph of some kind of fair that was going on in the middle of nowhere. It was either Iowa or Nebraska. This looks
a happy resident of Iowa.
Yeah.
Did you have a jaywalking experience that happened with this butterfly spirit track?
Yeah. That actually was what happened. Was I was going to pick up my American visa, and it was like I took the wrong exit from the tube, and I was on the wrong side of the road, and there were like people like gathered waiting to cross this actually rather busy road, and it seemed like there's nothing there. I'm just going to do what every Brit does, like I'm just going to skip across, even though it was red, and I started to skip across, and suddenly this taxi almost hit me. It's like, oh, holy shit. And then you start thinking, what if like it was literally a centimeter, end of tour, possibly worse.
Yeah.
There's a centimeter was basically it's just the savior of me. Like a centimeter more, it would have been a different outcome. And I just kept turning it over in my head, like what could have happened. And then you get to the sort of like point of like, maybe it did hit me, but I never realized it.
Twilight Zone.
No, exactly. So that's where the story came from. I was like started writing it on the train home. It's just like, this is kind of...
I've got some bad news for you, Edward. It did hit you.
Well, there's no way for me to sort of disprove that, of course, because if you invent your own reality after it's actually hit you, it's like you're kind of screwed. But at least at least you'll carry on in that reality.
Yeah, I'm really impressed by is that the humble European metric centimeter saved your life, not the half an inch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fuck Brexit.
Brexit. Yeah, I mean, that's the latest thing they got here. They want to they want to bring back imperial measures, like, you know, it's, I don't know, half the groats and half a spong. Like, you know, what is that?
Cups of potatoes, please.
Yeah.
And two
I'll have a gaggle of potatoes.
And send me to the press gang too.
Yeah. What is wrong with these people? I mean, really, what is wrong with these people?
One word, Farage. One word, Farage.
Oh man, it's been so fun. Lately, Edward, Mark and I have had the privilege to be able to interview a couple people as a team. And it's been quite a delight. We had Graham Lewis from Wire on, and Jochen Arbeit from Einstein Neubauten. And it was
great.
Sure. Yeah. And we have a big surprise coming up. We shouldn't say to the public who it is because it's a huge surprise, but we're kind of getting nervous. It's like a super old schooler beyond, like, I'll have to maybe like get down and do some like.
That's right.
But,
A hero. You can't even give us a clue.
I love it how
well, he's not a member of the Rolling Stones, I can tell you that.
Almost though. I love it how the UK sort of division takes over at one point and start talking about football, and so start laughing about fish and chips, and I'll just be like,
here's a funny thing, Edward. Both my club and your club go out to the same music. QPR and Middlesbrough. Pigback.
Is that right?
Yeah. Da 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 da.
That's amazing. Oh God, it's sad for Middlesbrough at the moment.
Sad for Middlesbrough, yeah. But I mean, I am, you know, there is a good link there to Pigback, isn't there? Because Pigback were part of the pop group.
That's right. Yeah.
It's only one step away from QPR going on to "We're all prostitutes."
Oh, that would be so good. I mean, I must admit, the pop group is one of those holy.
I know.
You know, like, I like anything Mark Stewart does. To be honest,
And guess what? Guess what I'm doing at the moment? Have a little guess. I'm working with Mark Stewart.
You're working with Mark Stewart?
I'm doing
wow, that's brilliant. Oh.
But it's all through the label Emergency Hearts, you see. So Mark Stewart is releasing stuff on Emergency Hearts. Mark KaSpel masters all their stuff. So I'm going to do hopefully something with Mark KaSpel. And so I said, you know, Scott from the label said, would you like to do something with Mark Stewart? And I said, yes.
Oh, that's brilliant. I just love everything. If anything by Mark comes out, I just have to get it. It's like like first in line. It's
and you know, one of the things
his heart is so in the right place as well. It's like you feel.
You and I remember this as well, but we'll remember this. But when they came out, just how unbelievably strange they sounded. You know, when you talk
Beyond Good and Evil was my introduction.
The wrong name and the wrong number.
I heard them for the first time on the Peel show, and it was "Screaming My Heartbeat." And I go, I'm like 16 years old, and I've got these headphones on. I'm like, what is this? It was just unbelievable.
It's basically it's like this howl. You know,
you know, he was at school when he did that.
Oh.
He was still at school, and he missed his O levels to go touring with the pop group supporting Patti Smith.
God, that's amazing.
Oh,
that is
missed his revision or something. He was still at school, and they were touring with the Patti Smith group, and he missed his exams.
I would say, out of all the people I've talked to on here, the pop group comes up a lot as inspiration from the very roots. I
still listen to the pop group a lot. It's just like Oh, it's one of those groups you always return to, and they're still making really good music. I mean, like
I'm sure
it's not like it's not just nostalgia. It's like they're as brilliant now as they ever were.
And the dub version of Why is just
that's great. Yeah, I've got to have that.
Fantastic. Yeah. I was really thinking, what's the point, but actually I bought it and it's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. Dennis
totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
I woke up Mark Stewart one time in his hotel room. He was staying with Adrian Sherwood, and we were working with Adrian, and they had just
he's a good guy, Adrian.
And I was like to wake up Adrian, but I was knocking and no one was getting there. And Mark Stewart answered, "Bloody hell, what's up?" Like, is Adrian here?
I think he's even taller than you, Kevin, isn't he?
Yeah, he was very, very tall. Yeah. I had him in London once too. After, very nice guy. Oh man,
we were hanging out with Adrian in Vancouver once. I remember he was in I think it was Vancouver.
He came to a session of You and Me and Rainbows. If you
That's right.
He was at the studio when we were about to start the concept of making a song that was 16 minutes long, an entire reel of tape. And he happened to be with Doug Wimbish, who's also from TAC.
So that's right, yeah.
Great bass player. And to this day, I often wonder, like, what would have happened if they had been able to hang out. They had to do a show that night, a TAC head performance, and they took off for that. But yeah, oh wow, can you imagine?
Oh, you'd love Adrian to get his hands on something that you've done. It's like, man, he's a genius.
He's I think he's doing remixes for Emergency Hearts.
Yeah.
I should hook you up with Scott, actually. I'm sure you'd be I'll do that. Yeah. Offline, I'll do that, yeah.
Changing subject a little bit, Edward, I absolutely love the Chemical Play School.
Oh, it finally showed up.
It did.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. It took so long to come out. I'm very proud of it. I mean, it's just this vinyl, slowdown all over the world that sort of delayed it.
It really becomes a challenge to make packaging now, especially if I think it was like something about a vinyl factory exploded or something like that. But yeah, fantastic package and great album. I don't know. I just love it. That's we were supposed to have an assignment about bringing albums that we, have really been enjoying lately. And I really have to say that's one of them. Great job on it. The Chemical Play Schools always are kind of like my favorite Pink Dots. Is there a rule when you guys make a Chemical Play School that it's a little different?
Yes, it's kind of hard to explain it, really. It's when it is a Chemical Play School element, and basically Chemical Play School is a collection of elements that sort of like turns into sort of like a trip. It really has to be a trip, and it really just has to sort of like, all the aliens have to sort of like find their way through the cracks in the wall and start dancing on your rug. And it's basically the world has to twist during the Chemical Play School. It's like meant to be like, you will not be the same after this. You're not. And if you're not the same, if you are the same after it, then it's failed, and it's also not a Chemical. I
just have this wonderful image of aliens dancing on my rug. Get down, you little buggers!
I think.
Will you shut up, alien?
Bloody aliens! I'll send them all back. I'll get the boats out and send them back.
Send them back. Send the bloody aliens back.
Bloody aliens.
I hate bloody
aliens. They don't speak English either. Bloody aliens.
Gary Livermore and I were Livermore. I was corrected, by the way. I can never say Livermore again. He's corrected me and says it's Lever. Okay, Gary Livermore and I had a discussion about how, like, the importance of like premonition and the whole sort of trip elements that you were tapping into like so early, like as early as like your earliest releases. What was it? The Premonition that was on the first Rising from the Red Sands is a 14-minute trip that is just like, once you hear that, you'll never be the same again, and you'll need to hear more of them. So in some weird way, you know, the Chemical Play School, I think, is for the people that really were addicted to your trips. Like, they became the home of where you could consistently find a new one. Is that safe to say? It's like,
yeah, it is true. I mean,
it's a musical.
In a way, I want everything to be a kind of a trip, you know,
Yeah.
Because in a way that is what you're doing. It's like, but you know, Chemical Play School is something where you stretch out as well. It's like, you know, all the rules are just like thrown away, and it's just like, if I want to make this 26 minutes long, as long as it's a good 26 minutes, I don't like any facts to be on there. It's like, you know, that if there's one thing you learn as you get older, it's the fact that you learn to filter a bit and you learn to edit more, because, you know, I have been guilty of making things too long in the past. You know, and I hopefully have, you know, got out of that now.
Oh, I like it though.
Rightly.
I mean, I think you have a good sense. You've always had a good sense about what's right and where things go, and especially, you know, if I'm ever in the same place as you at some point, we should maybe get a lesson on an Edward KaSpel lesson on the art of collage, because I don't know if I know anybody that does it better than you.
Oh, it's fun. Again, it's instinctive, you know, but a lot of it is nostalgic as well. It's searching for things that are like, you know, from your past, or sort of like resonated with you in some way. And, you know, there is definitely an art to it. Well, that sounds pretentious when I say there's an art, but there's a methodology that sort of like finds its way. You have to follow your instincts with it. It's always just about your instincts. Like the ingredient. No, it's like, I guess, like making a pie.
Well, some people, I guess, they just naturally have the knack, and some people don't. And I think you have more than your share. So you've eaten like way too much pie.
But the thing is, where it all comes from, actually, you know, in my case, it's actually from the Beatles.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Revolution number
9. You know, when Revolution number 9, yeah. Because, like, I don't know, Mark will probably remember this. You know, when the White Album came out, you know, it's like after, you know, a few years after Sgt. Pepper, and like the usual suspects, the paper said, oh, the Beatles, they obviously ran out of songs. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, and it's just like, whoa, hang on, I've really got to hear this, what they're talking about. I thought it just took me off. Like, Revolution number 9 is one of the greatest things I've ever heard.
Yeah.
It still is. I love it. It basically, it warped my young mind, and sort of like ever since, it's like it's a template in a way of, for me, how to make a collage. It was so right. And it's not an academic thing or something like that. It's a feeling. It's an emotional thing.
Do you think? I mean, I think the White Album is a perfect example of a collage.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
you've
brilliant.
got so many different elements in there. Everything from, you know, Blackbird to or the Daft Ringo song, you know, Don't Pass Me By, is it? And then you got Tomorrow Never Knows.
Oh, that's Revolver.
Sorry, that's Revolver. No, Helter Skelter. Helter Skelter.
Oh God, yeah, Helter Skelter.
Yeah.
It is such a, it puts you in this like 1969, you know, you're there in that actually world a little bit in turmoil as well. You feel all the turmoil of that time.
Has there ever been literature released on the making of Revolution number 9, or possibly, I know it was John and Yoko, but I wonder if it involved any of the bigger studio element.
On your core, because I understood that Paul McCartney was just as into that stuff as and George Harrison was too. I mean, George Harrison did a whole album of Moog stuff, didn't he?
Paul McCartney was absolutely. He was in some ways apparently the most experimental Beatle.
That's right. That's what I heard.
Yeah, I did actually hear work he did. It's called the Liverpool Sound
Symphony.
Oh, was it Sound? I think it's Liverpool Sound Collage or something. Much later, I think from the 90s or something. It's actually really good. So like he's just he's an excellent artist, Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
You know, might not like everything he ever did, but wow, I respect everything he's ever done. And the man, I think, is
that recent Beatles documentary was unbelievable. I thought.
We've not seen it. I've not seen it yet.
I haven't seen it. Yeah.
Oh my God, you guys should watch it.
It's Disney, isn't it?
It's long, but the thing you get out of it being the fact that we've all been in studios and stuff together. It's like you get that same sense of like, instead of just hearing the finished results and the things, you hear it coming together, and that just is mind-boggling to hear. Some of these classic songs being written from scratch. It's like, wait, oh my God, that's just incredible.
What songs and the lyrics.
Just the whole thing coming together. Edward, it was funny. The other day, I found a bunch of tapes downstairs, which I couldn't believe. I thought they were like long gone VHS tapes that were basically rediscovered, and one of them was a Tear Garden tape that basically said the Tear Garden on it, and it basically has us at Mushroom Studios, and it's just very short scene, but it has us jumping around making the girl laugh. Do you remember that?
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. That's brilliant.
This is from 1992 in Mushroom. And it goes on a bit. I was so hoping that it would have some studio jams. But the funniest thing here that is featured is some eating. Lots of eating. And some attempts at possibly going to name the album. And it was so funny that you suggested that the name of the album should be Phil the Snail Tokes Up. So all this video stuff, I got to put it together, but it's just unbelievable to find a time capsule of time that you'd spent together in the studio, and hadn't seen this in probably 20 years. So I'll make sure you get a chance to see this. But no, the Beatles thing, you really got to check that out. And furthermore, to Revolution Number 9, I fully agree that it warped my young mind as well. And I just, if that's where the inspiration all comes from, then God bless inspiration. Mark, did it not do anything to your brain? Did you hear?
Oh God, yeah, absolutely. I adore the White Album. I mean, I'm a huge Beatles fan. But the other collage album that I think was equally as important to me and still is the Faust tapes.
Oh God, yeah. Oh,
collage albums. Yeah. I mean, you're talking about 3 years later, aren't you? Really, 3 years on from the White Album, but it's all that kind of European influence as well. Just stunning, absolutely stunning pieces of music.
It sounds like it could have been made at any time in the last. It still does. It doesn't date at all.
I know. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how many times you've bought it, Edward, but every time they re-release it, I kind of buy it again.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I've had it a few times. I mean, of course, I have it in multiple formats.
But then there was
I only didn't manage that they brought out that box set 71 to 74 recently.
I didn't get that.
I couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford it.
I know. But there was the great unveiling of the track titles as well. Do you remember that when Recommended finally put the track titles down because they weren't on the original, were they? So you had the
right, yeah, that's
you had
true.
the song that I absolutely, I mean, you know, everybody loves it. Yeah. J'ai mal au long, jumper, merci, rock on. You know, and then they actually published the words and they're in French, and it's like, it's so weird. I can't fit the words to the song. What an album! If anybody listening to this hasn't heard the Faust tapes, I would warmly recommend that you do.
It will change your world.
Change your life. Yeah.
So close.
Yeah, it will change your world. That's for sure.
Oh, Kevin's gone. Kevin's gone. Oh, Kevin's back.
How fast?
That's the Faust tapes. That's the recommended version.
The recommended
How
version.
fast was that to grab it, guys? That's how essential. And we,
The
you know,
first one had a Bridget Riley painting on it, and what was it? 69 pence that they sold it for.
That's something like that.
Yeah,
It was.
yeah.
I remember reading the story. Like, was it Julian Cope or something? And the guy from Simple Minds, they were talking about the Faust tapes. They both bought it, and apparently the guy from Simple Minds hated it and was like throwing them off the top of a building. And like Julian Cope said, well, that's it. You know, so that's where the division occurred. This is like, you know, there were people who loved the Faust tapes and people who hated the Faust tapes.
I know.
Yeah, it's like it just like really like wham. It's just so radical because so many people got it.
Yeah,
And mind you, you'll have trouble getting the Bridget Riley cover Faust tapes now because it's actually kind of rare.
They've just re-released it with the Bridget Riley. I haven't got it, but they just really released it on vinyl with the Bridget Riley art.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, probably cost £26.99 as opposed to 69.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's always the way now with vinyl, isn't it?
I think did John Peel do the notes on the back? Was it John Peel?
I can't remember.
Not on this one.
I've got the one that Kevin has there.
Yeah,
I think I've got the other one too, but this was the first one in the stack.
I had the original, but yeah, it's like that was a bit like, oh, is there a better sound on the recommended one and things like that. Yeah, it's a bit like that. So I kind of traded up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, fantastic record. Absolutely fantastic. So
do you remember the first time you ever heard Faust?
I do, yeah.
Let's go through some Faust. We're talking about it.
I know exactly where I was because I have a friend who I'm still friends with.
That's not the original, is it? No, this is it.
That's Faust 4.
That's it. Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, that's it. That's the original.
Yeah, turn it round. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
69 pence.
It smells like 69.
Yeah. Who did the notes on the back? Who wrote the notes on the back? Turn it over, Kevin. Turn it round and look at back at sleeve, lad.
You know what, Mark? I'm going to need a magnifying glass.
You can't see it, can you, Kevin? Can you?
I am so blind, even with my glasses on. I can't read it anymore. Does that happen to you? When you can't read
I know the problem.
We're all buggered, aren't we?
Anyways, go explore the Faust world, people. There's a lot of goodies. Hey, we were supposed to be talking today about some albums that people might think would be surprising that we might know or want to talk about. I guess that was one of the first ones there, Faust tapes.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to talk about guilty pleasures.
Guilty pleasures.
The second album I ever bought was the Moody Blues.
Nights in White Satin.
The Beatles was the first. But sort of other guilty pleasures. Queen, A Night at the Opera. I think that's a brilliant record.
Everyone has that album. Hey, this was my first.
I didn't.
Yeah, I just
What's
really,
that?
really like that album. I just,
Popcorn.
Yeah, my first album I ever
oh
did.
God, Popcorn. What was that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
I didn't even
great.
know there was an album. I knew there was a single.
Yeah, it's the whole album.
Were they from like Batley or somewhere, or Dewsbury? I think there were, you know. I think there were. Macclesfield.
There were some strange bands around in the UK. That, remember Lieutenant Pigeon?
Yeah.
Oh,
the old dog.
only in the UK. No chance of international success. Not a
The
prayer.
beautiful story about that is that they it was a terrible song that had this kind of piano thing that was going through it, and with a chorus that just said "Mouldy old dog." That was
And it was hugely popular.
Mouldy old dog. And the funny thing is, I don't know if you remember this story, Edward, but there was a senior lady playing the piano, and it was
that's right, yeah.
the drummer's mother. And she was probably in her early 70s or something, you know. She had a big sort of like curly, white hair thing going on. Dun, 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 dun.
You've got to admit, that's pretty damn bizarre. You know, that really was very bizarre.
And you know what? They're probably playing that song tonight in Dewsbury with no original members.
really?
A tribute band, the Lieutenant Pigeon tribute band, the young pigeons.
Let's form a Lieutenant Pigeon tribute group.
Yeah, absolutely. Only one song, but I make it very long.
I didn't bring any guilty pleasures. I brought I brought records that people might not think I like. But I'll show you one. I don't know if you were ever into XTC.
Oh, XTC, they did some good stuff.
This
Skylark,
is,
I don't know that one, but
yeah, I didn't. I mean, I saw XTC live when their first single, Science Friction, was released. I saw them later that week. Absolutely loved them. They just happened to come to Redcar, and I saw them.
Band.
Yeah, I saw them again in Redcar a couple of years later. Absolutely loved them, and I kind of followed XTC probably through to the English settlement and just after. And then I thought, oh, I'm not really sure what's going on here. But this was an album that they did quite late into their career, really, which is for them, which was, I think it was 87 or something like that. But it was produced by Todd Rundgren. And I mean, I've been listening to this solidly all summer. And it's an absolutely gorgeous album. It's like if you want to think about creating a piece of music that's evocative about summer. And, you know, I mean, some of the words in it, I had to write these down because I thought, these are just beautiful. Drowning here in summer's cauldron, under mats of flower lava. Trees are dancing drunk with nectar, grass is waving underwater. Insect bomber, bud is droning, copper chord of August's organ.
That's actually superb.
Great stuff. It's great stuff.
I mean, I just remember, dear God, that was one of the most excellent singles. I think of... you know, with the child singing it at the beginning, and it's just so like, whoa.
That was huge in the States, wasn't it? It was huge in Canada. Dear God.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Good song.
Yeah. So it's a fantastic album. I mean, I've really, you know, I've been listening to it non-stop over the summer. It's just got that real sort of beautiful summer vibe to it, and really exceptionally well produced, you know. Just beautiful, really beautiful.
I gotta hear it. I don't think I've ever heard the album. In a way, I just know songs of XTC, but I never followed them. But again, what I heard, I really liked, but I just never took dived into their music.
Edward, I have to thank you for the last chat that we did here. You told me that your favorite album was an album that I believed which is kind of crazy that how much I love Yellow Magic Orchestra, that I had never heard Ryuichi Sakamoto's Async record.
I love that record.
And
I just love that record.
I became absolutely addicted to this album after that. And so you're absolutely in sync, man. Async, it's just beautiful.
It is such a good record.
That was really, really amazing to get. You know, it's great when someone recommends an album and you put it on and it's like, oh my God, how have I not heard this? It was kind of like the Pearl, like an Eno Pearl, but Sakamoto.
Yeah, it's also very like this Russian composer, Edward Artemiev. He did the soundtracks for Solaris, and you can see that, you know, Ryuichi basically obviously had listened and was obviously, I guess, into Tarkovsky movies and so on. It's just like, because it feels almost a little bit almost like a tribute here and there, but with his particular take and sensibility, and it's great stuff.
That led me to this one, Finez Sakamoto.
Finez Sakamoto.
Oh my God!
It's so good, isn't it? It's recent. The music he's made over about, I'd say, the last 20 years is just stunning.
And then, you know, yeah, if you look online, you can see that I even got like carried away on his greatest hits. But if you look online, there's just so many performances of him lately that have been quite astounding as well. I was totally blown away by how you opened the door to that album, and it just opened the door to discovering a lot more stuff about Ryuichi Sakamoto that I hadn't heard fully yet, or even experienced.
Yeah,
has he been? Hasn't he been quite ill recently?
Yes, he's been recovering. I don't know if he's even going to be able to recover from his. I think, you know, it's a sustenance thing when you get cancer to the degree that he has. I think it's just a matter of sustaining yourself and everything. I don't know if you can cure the situation, but I could be wrong. So hopefully, you know.
I thought he was doing kind of okay. I don't know for sure, but I know he was ill. But indeed, I think he sort of like is, as far as I know, is kind of like indeed maintaining, you know, kind of where I hope so.
I hope so.
Man who produces music of such beauty.
But thank you for that recommendation, Edward, on music. That really was amazing, and that's where my head's been, guys.
I'm trying to think. What do I got?
I recommend this album. It's an old reggae album produced by Wackies, which is it's like the weirdest old stuff that you never have heard of. So it's called The Lovejoys, and it's
never heard of it.
It's incredible. I mean, I thought I'd heard of every dub album that existed, but this one got past my ears. The Lovejoys, check it out. Someone was saying to me, this is really funny, hey, what's that album? And I was like, oh, you mean this? I'm like,
I had that when I was a kid.
What is that?
That's your Music for Cats album. Oh, no, it's not. It's
Peter and the Wolf.
Yeah, I had that.
The original cover by Sergey. It's a Russian album.
Yeah.
It's a Russian album.
Yeah.
But some people thought that was pretty cool.
He did a rock version in the 70s as well. Do you remember that?
Yeah, vaguely.
There's all sorts of people on it. Like, I think Eno might have been. Eno was definitely on it. It wasn't a major role, but Manfred Mann and Jack Lancaster, John Heisman. I don't know who was. There was one person who was all behind it, and I can't remember who. It'll come to me, but yeah, I think, and they had somebody famous doing the narration, and I can't remember who that was as well. But I don't think it was Richard Burton, but it was that kind of voice, you know.
So, guys,
I brought this one along as well, John Martin, One World.
Yeah, I don't know that. I remember he did some great stuff way back. Was it John and Beverly Martin, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, this was from, I think this is from 1977. But you know, he was. I remember, Edward would probably remember this. There was a few music programs on the TV when we grew up, and there was one of them was called, I think it was called Rock Goes to College or Sight and Sound in Concert, one of those two. And it was on BBC Two, like they all were, late on a night, and they'll have live bands on, often 2 in a row. And there was this show with John Martin. And I think I'd heard some of his stuff before, but it was kind of like, you know, soft kind of acoustic stuff. And there he was, just playing an acoustic guitar, beautiful voice. I mean, a voice to die for. And then suddenly, I mean, don't forget, this was about 76, 75 or something like that. He would just flick all these effects pedals, and he had an echoplex and like a fuzz. And he would go into this kind of thing where he was doing this, I mean, you know, these kind of very rhythmic, repetitive, but really beautiful things with the guitar, and then singing over the top.
I remember him for that. Solid Air, I remember there was an album.
Yeah.
He did quite a lot of that on it, I think.
Yeah. So this album was recorded with Chris, I mean, he was on Ireland, but Chris Blackwell actually recorded this. And it was recorded in the open air in somewhere near Reading, I think. And they would do a lot of the sessions at night. And it's one of the first ambient albums, really, because you can kind of hear like the sounds of geese in the background. Very, very distant. You can hear like a train. And then there's just this beautiful music over the top.
I love that when the outside world sort of like basically kind of creeps into the music. He like adds the atmosphere.
But he was part of that, you know, he used to play a lot with Danny Thompson, a fantastic double bass player. And I mean, they used to, you know, tour a lot, and the sort of stories of them are hilarious, you know. Big drinkers, I mean, huge drinkers, but the kind of exploits they would get up to when they're on the road. I mean, at one point, I think John Martin, Danny Thompson was as pissed as a fart. And in a hotel, John Martin rolled him up in a carpet and nailed the carpet to the floor. So when Danny Thompson woke up in the morning, he was like, it's just.
Can you imagine? Thank God nobody's ever done that to me on the road.
I mean, I love John Martin. He died about 10 years ago. You know, he put a lot of weight on over the years, and he had to have one of his legs amputated and all sorts of things. But he was still making good music. His voice really kind of like became distressed, but in a beautiful kind of blues way, you know, a fantastic voice. But that stuff from the early 70s where he would do this kind of echoplex stuff with the guitar was just, there was nobody else doing it.
No, it's actually was quite I mean, it still sounds like a pretty original sound.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I mean, there was a lot of interesting stuff going on at that time. It was I remember Annette Peacock. Do you remember I'm the One?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
What a great album that is.
Yeah. Did you ever like? Did you get Richard Thompson? Did you like Richard Thompson?
Don't really know it. Again, I never kind of like I know the name, but it's something I never really got to discover.
Yeah, I mean, I loved his stuff as well. Richard and Linda Thompson. I mean, I'm a big sort of fan of early Fairport Convention as well. But his guitar playing, it's just really, really special. I'm not a huge guitar fan really, I guess, but there are a couple of guitarists. The other one, I had to bring this along because this is probably definitely one of my all-time favorite albums.
Oh, me too. I love that album.
Wow.
Yeah. I love that album. If you like
Tom Verlaine's guitar playing, then you'll like Richard Thompson, because I'm sure Thompson.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite albums, Mark.
Who do you think has a bigger record collection, Mark or Edward?
I mean, mine's actually kind of it's chaotic. It's terrible. I was really trying to find it, like an album I really always telling people about. I couldn't find it by this French group called Illich. 10 Suicides by Illich. Yeah, as in Vladimir Illich. But Illich is a Parisian band. Well, in a way, it's one man, Thierry Muller, a great guy. But I worship this record called 10 Suicides for years and years and years.
Thierry
That's
Muller,
one of
I've heard
the
of that,
greatest records ever made. And but you know, I actually wanted to bring a bit of attention to it because it's still doing it. And it's still great.
Oh, we need to find this one now.
Yeah, I just wish I could find.
You can find it.
Chaotic.
Do you keep your records in alphabetical order?
I tried, but I didn't have the patience.
Gotta give up.
So,
I do. But I will also have a bit of an idiosyncratic sort of bent to that. So, for example, with Cluster, I'll also put in Mobius and Rodilius into that.
I see that.
Can, I'll put Holger Chukai into Can.
Into Can. Yeah.
What's the name of that band? Illich. How do you spell it, Edward? Illich?
Ilitch.
Ilitch.
Absolutely. Really, but that particular album is a great way to enter it. 10 Suicides. I think it came out in 1980 or something like that.
I have heard Thierry Muller. What else did he do? What else has he been involved with?
Basically, a lot of things as Illich. He worked with like there's always been a really good Parisian sort of scene. Like great things came out of Paris, like Lard Free and Urban Sax and. Philippe Doré, like Thierry worked with Philippe Doré, and you know, it's just a kind of a sound to these people.
Right.
Wow. They're very much related to the things from Germany, but with this whole French, you know, take on it. It's some superb music.
Early 70s then.
Right through the 70s into the 80s. Illich was more the end of the 70s into the 80s.
Did you like the French punk band Metal Urbain?
I don't really know. I only heard a little bit of Metal Urbain.
Oh, they were incredible. Have you heard them, Kevin?
I haven't, no.
Oh, you must check them out. Metal Urbain. It's like URB.
I've seen the name on.
Oh man, you had this guy. You know, this was a French punk band. I mean, it was like a singer, guitarist, bass player, and a synthesizer player, who sounded like Alan Ravenstein from Pere Ubu.
Oh, no, there's a synthesizer player. Oh, I love that guy's music.
Going right through the whole of the song, but they were just ferocious as well. I think they may have only done one album, and the single was called History Connectif and Paris Marquis. But it's all on YouTube. You can check it out. Metal Urbain.
I should do that. I mean, that you mentioned Peru. I do love Peru.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Oh, yeah. 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 I've loved most of their records, but the first two were just staggeringly fantastic.
Oh, the modern dance is.
Yeah. And Dub Housing too. I'm really big fan of Dub Housing.
It's great stuff. I
don't know if you know the story behind Alan Ravenstein, but he quit the band. You know, the band came back in mid-80s, and then he quit the band after that. And he became a pilot for Northwest Airlines.
Really? I didn't know that.
Pilot. So if you were ever on the Northwest Airline plane in the late 1980s or to the middle of the 1990s, and you heard this voice coming up and saying, "Good morning, everybody. My name's Captain Ravenstein, and I should be taking you today." He'll have one hand on an EMS synthesizer. When he was
Oh,
Captain Ravenstein, yeah, pilot for Northwest Airlines.
that's that's really
How about that?
that's kind of shocking.
Well, I love
He's
that.
still
kind-
he's making music now though.
He
I
is,
mean,
I've got
I
some,
bought
yeah.
I bought recent albums by Alan Ravenstein.
Me too, yeah.
And they're really good, really
Yeah,
good stuff.
yeah, collagey stuff. Yeah, I love Perubu. Really. Again, when they came out, I'm not entirely sure there was another band that sounded like them. But I was always
No.
into those bands that use synthesizer players like that, like Eno, like
Yeah.
the guys Hawkwind as well, you know, Dick Mick and Del Detmar, who were credited as using audio generators, you know, and you
Yeah,
just get
that's kind of that's the sort of stuff that I'm looking for in a way, like people who use synthesizers in that kind of setting.
Yeah, yes.
Like I remember I had this single by a Japanese band, if they ever try and find it, it's probably impossible, but a group called NG.
Oh,
And
yeah,
it's just
that,
like
yeah.
exactly like
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like wild with synthesizer, like whooping over the top of it, you know. And
Yeah.
Now I have something to look for in Japan. They have singles?
they only did a single. I think one single, and it was hell of a single.
Wow.
Something like Yuko Mako Ego or something like that.
Have you heard that? I was thinking there about the whole synthesizer stuff, because Suicide were always one of my favorite bands as well.
Yeah, me too.
But I've just remembered that there's this album that I really do like it. That Alan Vega made with Mika, the guys from Pansonic.
I heard of it again. I never got to hear it.
It wasn't just Mika Vainio, it was the other guy as well, whose name I forget.
Ilpa, isn't it? Yeah.
Ilpa, yeah.
Ilpa. I can't remember his second name, but it's Ilpa.
I can't remember the name of the album now, and I actually think they titled it as VNV. It was not VNV. Yeah, Vega. Anyway. It was I can't remember the title of the album. I think they did 2 albums. I've only got the first one.
Scully's asking a question if you guys like to ask the panel their thoughts on Kigaku Moyo.
Huh?
Kikagaku Moyo.
Oh, the Japanese psychedelic band. They're great. Oh, they're really. Apparently, they just stopped or something. You know, they did the last tour. I heard.
You just saw it the other day,
really
right?
Good stuff.
I think they played San Francisco the other day, and he was mind blown.
Yeah, they're brilliant.
I think I'm a friend of one of theirs on Facebook. Have they got like long beards?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic band.
Yeah.
Looks like it's a positive, Scully.
That's all I know about them. They look really cool, you know.
I think
really cool.
a lot of people watching this might be thinking, hey, I'm looking forward to listening to the music that Mark and Edward make. And Edward is about to partake on a tour and then meet up with Mark. And there's going to be a night where all you guys are going to make music. Edward, are you planning on playing a lot of the Museum of Human Happiness, or will it?
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Will it span the whole Pink Dots history?
There'll be some things from the past, but there'll be a lot from the museum, because in a way, like
great
heart
album
is really with this album.
I think it's a great album. I think you did a fantastic job producing it. I think anybody that's heard it. And are you playing with Godspeed You Black Emperor?
No, I was really shocked by that myself. I mean, I love Godspeed You Black Emperor.
Yeah, me too.
It's true then?
That really is quite a night that's going to be.
Oh my God! So there's like a couple of nights here that we're talking about, you know, and you've got this night, this double bill night here in Denver, and that, like, you've got some exciting things coming up. I'm looking. I feel like I should have to fly out to Denver
Oh yeah,
We'd
man.
love to see you there.
I'm afraid to
That would be brilliant.
take airplanes though. But everybody, check out the list. If you're on this list, come and see these guys, and then make sure that you do some studying on what we're talking about today, about some of these unusual and rare bands. Guys, I know I've taken a lot of your time today for the discussion, but thanks for joining. I just want to mention also, though, that God, you guys are so prolific, and just go to Bandcamp, everybody, and check out like how many releases you can get from Edward, or the Pink Dots get the new Halloween special 2022, The Great Outdoors. These are since the Museum of Human Happiness. And Mark, you've got all sorts of your live sessions that you're releasing. Incredibly prolific here. I saw a re-release of a Braider coming out there too.
Yeah. I'm going to send you a copy. You're on it. Yeah.
That's great. Excellent. Yeah, I'm looking forward to all this lovely stuff, guys.
We're looking forward to seeing you.
I'll definitely see you, Edward, in LA here at the Echo.
Oh, looking forward to it, Kenny.
How am I going to see Mark? I got to figure out how to do this.
You've got to fly to
Drive
Denver.
Drive the bug over the desert to Denver and the Rockies.
Yeah, you gotta go to Denver.
Gotta go to Denver.
Gonna have to go to Denver. Everyone meet in Denver, okay? Guys, thank you very much for joining today here, and I wish you all the best of luck on the tours, and stay healthy. And I'll do my utmost to be there.
Tell me, is there a Waffle House in Denver?
I'm not the Waffle House fan. It's the other guys that the I'm a Taco Bell fan myself. Can you believe it? There's a Taco Bell in Hornchurch. They have a bad reputation. I mean, it can't be like the real. It can't be like the real thing. I mean,
you mean around here?
If there's if there is a Waffle House in Denver, and if Kevin does come out, Kevin, I will buy you breakfast at Waffle House.
You know what, Mark? Well, hold on. Let's ask the audience. Is there any Waffle Houses in Denver? Yes or no? If there is, then that means I have to go. And if there isn't,
fried, splayed, reduced.
Edward, maybe we can make it a group effort. We can all go to Waffle House.
Okay, why not?
Rihanna says she's in because she's never been to a Waffle House.
It's an experience.
They say, oh, yes, I think a few I know in Westminster. Okay, well, we'll have to look at. All right, so big up to you guys, and big up to Randall, new legendary Pink Dots member.
Yeah, big up to Randall.
Yeah, and
absolutely.
All the best to everybody and everything, and we'll see you guys within, two and a half weeks from now.
Safe travels, Edward. Take care of yourself. I'll see you in Denver.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, looking forward to seeing you. It's going to be fun.
Me too, yeah.
Love you guys. Over and out.
Okay,